Good afternoon and welcome to day 3 of Riyadh International Industry Week Summit. And I'd like to welcome you to our first session of the day, which is Artificial Intelligence and Industrial Automation. And I'd like to invite our speakers up on stage, Engineer Ahmed Al-Bakawi, Engineer Faisal bin Dos, Mr. Joshua Steiner, and Mr. Nick Retzman. Anybody in the audience, feel free, if you could, gentlemen, could take the seat to so your sign is on your right side, please. Thank you. If you're in the audience, we will be delivering all the sessions in English today, but you can use our translation app. It has access to 57 languages. It'll come through on your telephone. You can even download the transcription for later if you want the notes of the session. And we also have earphone devices at the back of the hall if you'd like to have an earphone connection to the sessions. But I'm going to start because I know we'll probably run over time. So I'll take a seat with these gentlemen. So we've had Engineer Ahmed here a few times, actually, so it's a welcome back to him. But before we start, please give them all a big hand because they've taken time out of their busy schedules to be with us today. Thank you. If we could just go down the row and give us 1 minute on who you are, where you're from, and I don't know, anything about your favorite color or what you like eating. No, that's a joke, but if you could start, please, Engineer Ahmed.
Sure. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahmed Al-Bakawi. I'm proud to be here again. Thank you so much, Morgan. I'm the VP of Studies at Saudi Industrial Development Fund. And what we do at Studies is that we complete feasibility study due diligence, I would say, from a project implementation perspective, as well as market dynamics and sizing the opportunities that are presented to us. At SIDF, we are the financial enabler of the National Industrial Development and Logistic Program, as well as the National Industrial Strategy. So we cover a lot of sectors when it comes to manufacturing, logistics, renewable energy, conventional energy, and mining. We just celebrated 50 years. And we're very excited to have an outlook on the next 50 years that was going to be fueled with fascinating innovations in manufacturing, such as AI and robotics.
Thank you. Engineer Faisal?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to be one of yours today. My name is Faisal bin Dos. Last time I checked my age, I was 40. I'm a Saudi engineer with a big experience internationally, where I spent most of my time in Europe, especially in France, where I get my 2 engineer's degrees, and in the United States, where I get specialized in advanced telecommunication. I went through lots of changes and evolutions in my career. I started by, the maritime architecture and shipyard sector, going through all the advanced telecommunication systems, infrastructures, to all what we could call advanced manufacturing technology. When I finally joined Meta 2i, I started as project manager in France, and then I became the owner, one of the shareholders, and get the leadership of this company. Since my childhood, I was, interested about technology, advanced technology, and get amazed about all the advanced that Europe and the United States can get in these technologies. So I had this, this dream that one day I could do something similar, and bring these technologies to Saudi Arabia. So with my shareholders in France, we launched with the Vision 2030 in 2014,
Excellent.
The next, strategy of Meta 2i. Meta 2i is a company that had 37 years old, in continuous evolutions, and we chose, to fulfill the mandate of the Vision 2030 and make our dream one of the dream of the leaders of Vision 2030. This is why we created and I founded Eyotic in Riyadh in 2021.
Thank you. And Mr. Steiner, if you could give us a brief intro, please.
Sure, absolutely. It's really nice to be here today. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm also an engineer, a manufacturing engineer, and originally from the United States. I've been working in Saudi now for 4 years. Most recently, the Executive Director of Development at Oxagon, the industrial city of Neom. I was responsible for developing the industrial land and also all the programs to attract manufacturers. Before that, I was a partner at Ernst & Young, and before that, Deloitte, focused on mergers and acquisitions and investments. So I've been working my entire career on how to make the feasible investments and the balance between capital and productivity and labor and financials. So I'm really excited to talk about what AI and automation can really do for manufacturing.
Thank you. And Mr. Retzman.
Yes, so first of all, thank you very much for having me today. Yeah, it's my first time in Saudi Arabia. I'm here only for 3 days. And one thing I can already say is that this company and this industry here is on the forefront of technology to become the powerhouse in the Middle East. My name is Nick Retzman. I'm the co-founder of Vibe, a gamification venture increasing employee engagement. And my role, I'm responsible for growth and product. Vibe is embedded in Kerber Digital, which is a German manufacturing company building software and manufacturing industries products for various industries. I can only say that being here will help us to establish Vibe as a brand, and I'm very thankful for this.
Okay, well, let's stick with you for now. We're going to say your innovative solutions for advanced industries and the workforce. Tell us a little bit, give us a bit more detail on them. Sure. And why, what's the relationship between automation, AI, and Vibe?
Yes, happy to do so. So, if I read in the Vision 2030, investing in human capital is key. And that's exactly what is Vibe about. Upskilling and reskilling people in the technology world by using gamification elements. That is what Vibe is all about. We've invested and founded Vibe together with our supply chain, Kerber supply chain industry sector, which is on the forefront of WMS systems worldwide. So now imagine we live in the fully automated world, but still, in fact, people doing the job. And the symbiosis between people and technology, that is what Vibe is all about. Using big data sets, analyzing the people doing the job out there, and then increasing the skills and increasing the performance alongside supply chains, logistics, and manufacturing industries.
So, Mr. Steiner, in terms of this people business, obviously we need people for everything. At Oxagon, you guys are talking about advanced manufacturing, you're talking about clean technologies, and so the training is an important part of that, but what else is part of that equation for the clean, advanced manufacturing industry?
No, that's a great question. Advanced and clean manufacturing means many things to different people, and ultimately it changes depending on what subsector you're in. And part of it is about being the best in class in your subsector. It is about using Industry 4.0 and advanced technologies to control your manufacturing process. It's also about, as my colleague said, about providing a good, safe, clean place for people to work, right? Creating good, solid, middle-class jobs, if you will, and using support technologies to make those jobs safe. It also means quality, and it means that you have control over your process and you're able to get the quality out. And you need to be at world-class quality to be considered advanced manufacturing. And then ultimately, it's about circularity and sustainability. So minimizing the waste and processing as much of that waste as you possibly can, reducing the burden on the municipal systems, of course, and making sure that you're working with your supply chain partners to make manufacturing the cleanest, the most efficient, the best quality that you can make. And I think there's a lot of programs necessary beyond just the manufacturer to be able to do that. The industrial cities and the general supply chain around needs to be able to support that.
So in terms of that, engineer Faisal, your company is contributing to that kind of vision, really, with your smart factory, smart manufacturing ideas, and the way you enable companies to do that. So, what is your corporate commitment to that? You know, realizing that smart dream.
Well, actually, we started this commitment with many axes. The first one is the technological factor. We partnered with Meta 2i, 2i coming from Intelligence Industrial, a company that has 37 years old in the industry. The first customer of Meta 2i, it's a 30 years old customer that remain and evolving the same system, helping all these, manufacturing to resolve their problems and obstacles during their production. So the founders of the company, they didn't wake up one day by saying, let's build a software or our application or so. They've been working in production environment, and they've been facing all these obstacles and difficulties, and they've been trying, looking for data, the source of data. Back in 1989, they believed that the data is the next oil, and they need to, capture this data all over the production floor, and to consolidate this data to deliver and make as my colleague said, to make the day and the shift of the operators more easier, and to help the decision maker to take the decision. So the first one was the technological. Our aim with Eyotic, and with this big support from our network and partner, is to localize the first technological manufacturing execution system, which is called KM-Prod, coming from Knowledge Management Production. And this will be the first, Saudi platform, at this level to contribute and, digitalizing the factories and to make the industrial intelligence, accessible to everybody. The second one, we've been, and I have my colleague from SIDF, Tanafusi, next to me. I want to thank, the Ministry of Industry with the Future Factories program. We are part of this program right now. We are certified series. We are part of the program of Tanafusiya. We receive lots of help. There's a lots of exchange between the stakeholder, the regulation side, and us in terms of sensibilization. Also, a big thank to C4IR, the Center of Industrial Revolution 4, and to Dr. Basmel Bhiran, where we put in place, a series of seminars and webinars, for the awareness and sensibilizations of the people in the sector. And we are very happy because also with King Saud University, we launched the first industrial intelligence program. We finished, just the second session of this, and we have lots of, engineering department students getting interested in this program, and we are willing, to among the pilot projects, the POCs that we established already in KAXT, in some of the aluminium, plastic, steel factories, to push them forward to bring the best service to the sector.
Great. And so how do you help all these guys? Do you just hand out money, or is it more to it than that?
Well,
I mean, you're an enabler, really, aren't you?
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
Is it a big checkbook, or is it like lots of consultancy, support? Tell everybody how you...
I wish money was the solution for everything, but it's actually more fun than that. And thank you so much for mentioning it, Engineer Faisal. I would like to say at SIDF, we're really an enabler when it comes to trying to put technology in everything we do in manufacturing, especially helping our clients. So being the enabler of the NIDLIP program, the National Industrial Strategy, we had to do three things to make this happen in terms of industrial automation, going into Industry 4.0, and now the age of artificial intelligence. We focused on three areas, if I can just make it brief. The first is our products. Just like what Engineer Faisal mentioned, we had to expand beyond the typical kind of industrial loan appraisal. We added the Tanafusiya program, and Tanafusiya program has a lot of offerings that help us look at, thank you, the current manufacturing landscape and see how can we help the clients that really want to reconstruct, for example, how are they efficient in energy, and how can they transition to renewables or transition to efficient sources. where we conduct advisory or let's say consultancy as energy audits and give them proper solutions and how much it's going to cost them. Because if it does not impact their bottom line immediately, it's really not that feasible or meaningful to the investor. We also have digital transformation. And that's really a fun program where we really work with them and make sure that we design tools, solutions, and a plan to go from a current state to a futuristic state, enabling Industry 4.0 and optimizing, automating, digitizing their products, or let's say their operations. The second, briefly, I can say the process. We improved our process by adding so many things to our clients, like hosting the Advanced Manufacturing Hub. And this is a collaborative platform where we enable the industrial players in Saudi Arabia to interact and exchange ideas with international leaders and technology enablers. And some of them are like the companies that Engineer Faisal works with, or the members in NEOM and global centers as well, where they can give guidance on how to adopt the technology, how to really avoid costly mistakes, and even advise on how to resolve a problem that's already been resolved in a different part of the world in the same sector. The third, I would say, are people. We really are into developing our people, not just the industry. We were able to make sure that our engineers at SIDF and other members who are experts are Series certified, which is the Smart Industrial Readiness Certificate, to make sure that they are able to do an assessment of factories and what do they need to do to advance into automation and digitization. Another thing is the SIDF Academy that has a lot of offerings when it comes to digitization, automation, and also lean manufacturing. Another thing is also with our people is ask an expert. It has been fruitful experience, and we're always there to answer questions, not just for our clients, anybody who wants guidance on what they should be doing or what they should not be doing.
So the Ask the Experts, where's that pool of knowledge? Is that your international collaborative platform, or is this a separate?
The international collaborative platform is available for anybody who wants to access it. I'll be more than happy to share guidance on how to access that. The Ask an Expert, it is in collaboration with Munshaat, and it is, I believe, on the Munshaat app, you can book an appointment with the expert in the sector that you're interested in. Even if you just want the idea of opening a factory or upgrading your factory, we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Excellent. And guide you through it.
Okay, good. I'm going to go back to you, Engineer Faisal, and ask you about artificial intelligence and how that's changed the kind of manufacturing area, since this is about, I think we're talking about artificial intelligence, aren't we? Yeah. So,
thank you, James, for
I need a reminder. Sorry.
Thank you, James, for this question. It's very important to highlight this particular point. Actually, when you are talking about losses, scraps, breakdowns, loss of resources, all these are some of the pain that the production and the factories can have. And as other sectors, the technology is helping, to evolve, helping to resolve all these pains. And you cannot separate artificial from industrial intelligence. And industrial intelligence, in my opinion, is the spine, of the data, because all these industrial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, algorithm, they would need, a consolidated data, to take advantage and to deliver the right information to the right person at the right moment. But this is a work that the industrial intelligence will work, to seek for the source of data all over the workshop, to put it in a form where we can cascade in a very dynamic way the quality, the production, the time, and to prevent all these breakdowns and pains. We do analysis in the factories since decades, and these analysis helps us to understand to identify the failure or to identify the fault and to correct it afterward. What would the intelligence artificial do later on is that will prevent, will predict, in your movement, what to avoid, what to do or what not to do to maintain your productivity in a certain level that you want. And the big start is the industrial intelligence. And we can say so because in almost 4 decades in Meta 2I, we've been in France and also in Eyotic, we've been facing both of these applications. I can give 2 examples. The first one, we've been approached by big companies, software companies specialized in deep learning and machine learning, and just to put their their work and their platforms in execution in the factory. They've been seeking to get our data in our database to make this algorithm work with it. So
Okay.
we give at their disposal a tremendous number of data that they can get advantage from it immediately.
I'm going to go to Mr. Steiner now. And just you mentioned predictive intelligence. And I'd like you to expand on that for the audience and how this can be adapted to make that manufacturing, that kind of full circle work properly.
Yeah, I mean, I think manufacturers have been installing advanced technology now for 30 years, right? And so we've collected dramatic amount of data, but not been able to use all of the data that you've collected. And I think what's really exciting about AI and advanced computing systems now is that we're able to see people starting to use that data holistically, connecting different parts of the factory together and being able to anticipate challenges and problems, but also really be able to help the people make better decisions. Right? And I think I was at Porsche last 2 weeks ago in Stuttgart, where they're making the Taycan and the 911, an absolutely beautiful factory. I love visiting factories. And it's probably one of the most sophisticated final assembly plants in the universe. And one of the things that AI has allowed them to do is have actually a very advanced factory that's also very flexible. Because now the systems can adapt to changes very quickly. They teach themselves, if you will. The robots can reprogram themselves. The goods carriers can move very easily rather than everything being rigid. But then it also allowed the operators to anticipate challenges and problems, right, that happen, say, further up in the manufacturing process. And the systems then allowed them to address those problems before they got to the final quality stages. So I think ultimately it allows people to be better manufacturers. Right? And I think one of the interesting elements, people predict that AI, eliminates many jobs, but I think it also makes the skill level necessary, as my colleague I'm sure will expound upon, the skills of the manufacturer's employees needs to also go up in order to handle, the proper sort of working with AI to make sense of all the data that's been generated over the last decades.
So going on about the people, this is your bit, Mr. Richmond. So in terms of your gamification, I mean, how do you get people to predict? How do they coalesce with the AI that's predicting stuff as well?
Yeah, right, exactly. To touch exactly this point, probably to say one thing before that, in my previous role, I was responsible for the digital innovation process for the entire Körber Group, with the focus on AI-powered manufacturing, new business innovation models. So what we have done was we analyzed the entire value chain to identify new business models. And I guess what we see now, and so that was also already mentioned, is that we now in the age where we can finally do something with the data we collected so far. When we look at enabling technologies like IoT, for example, everything has sensors. Everything is now measurable. But there's two more important technologies we have seen before I touch base back to the peoples at the end doing the job. We see more and more the rollout of 5G and quantum computers. 5G will help us to really transform data in real time. Efficient manufacturing processes only work if we can work with real-time data. At the same time, we have quantum computers, which now enable us, coming back to the AI topic, not only talking about machine learning, but quite and far more complex deep learning models, which also help us to now enter the new age of AI. Coming back to the questions, how we transform all this knowledge also to the people, We have further interesting business models developed in Kerber, for example, Factory Paul, where we analyze manufacturing data along the production line and then give the operator certain ideas what to improve along the production line. The interesting part, why often not the real measures we predict are coming out, is because the operator is not using the optimization potential they already have. So in the world, what I would call the cobot world, where we have technology combining in a symbiosis with people, it is important to use the technology and the big data and AI models we have, combining it and teaching the operators, the people at the end doing the job to work as I said, in a cobot world.
Excellent. So um, I'm just wondering, have you guys heard that Saudi Arabia's got one of the fastest 5G networks in the world? So, I mean, that makes a huge difference to the smart factories and the whole AI thing. But I'm going to go to Engineer Bakwi again, and the National Industrial Strategy and your contribution. When you look at studies, what are you predicting for the future in AI, automation, and the smart factory program? What are you guys projecting for the future, say the next 5 years or past 2030?
That's a lovely question, James. And I want to pick up the answer where Nick stopped, because that's the...
Sorry, I'm shoving the mic in front of you because
that's the logical explanation.
There we go.
That's the logical continuation. Really, what Mr. Nick mentioned on 5G, on quantum computing, that is the trend spotting of where industry is going to go. And the characteristics of factories of the future, I believe, are first going to have high connectivity and data viability. It's going to make things very accessible to the big players and small players. It's going to make everything interconnected with each other, where now you can connect with your supply chain moving up or moving down. You can make sure that you also have a fantastic kind of data-driven operations, where you have sensors, where you have monitoring on every part of your factory. And that's very important, especially if you're a small player, because when you talk to your investors, when you talk to banks, when you talk to lenders, now you have a different perspective to let them know that you got a meaningful operation going on. Currently, you can find a lot of challenges when you're talking to investors or banks, when you're trying to get a bridge loan or trying to get some sort of financing. But in the future, it's going to be really easy, because you have validated, proven data that you are having fantastic effort, and people love to fund investors that show a lot of effort. What I'm really excited about the future is the fact that you will have reconfigurable and flexible production lines. With the introduction of 3D manufacturing, additive manufacturing, and a lot of new kind of gimmicks that are coming either from academia or kids in school, we're going to see a lot of that come in mainstream, where that will give you new configurations of production lines that can fit any type of factory, any type of size, and which will create a long tail of supply chain. So that will really enrich the whole, I would say, environment or ecosystem of factories in the future. We're going to see a lot of new players inside the factories, like collaborative robots. I'm sure everybody is aware of the new generative AI and the efforts that are happening with the Boston Dynamics and Tesla's Robo project. That will all be commoditized, and it will be accessible because there's going to be a lot of influx of capital to make these robots happen. And this will create really your personal assistant as an engineer or a professional, where you are no longer bound by a lot of mundane, repetitive tasks, but you can focus on engineering, improving your products, you can focus on solving problems, R&D, and these robotics will be focused on doing the mundane task. Lastly, I believe everybody will be able to focus on sustainability. because it's going to be logical, it's going to be easy to implement, and I see that the levels of industrial establishments in Saudi Arabia will rapidly increase in the future.
Excellent. Engineer Faisal, I'm going to come to you now. And what kind of challenges are you facing to meet this vision that we've just heard from? Everybody's going to say money, but I mean, what else? You know, what is it? Expertise? Is it knowledge? You know, what are the main challenges for you as a smart manufacturer?
Well, actually, I will go back to 2017. You know, I was exposing it with my little booth in Smart Industries in Paris, and I was surprised to have, you know, a delegation coming from Mudden. And I was happy, and they asked me about, you know, the industry, the technology, the evolving. They had some of their colleagues coming from SIDF, and we just joined, and we had a tour in the you know, exhibition. You know, we launched already our strategy, and in 2019, for another you know, event in the region, David Fernandez, who is my partner, he was shareholder of Meta2i. I asked him, you know, I said, I know Saudi Arabia and the region, please go and discover and make your own opinion. So David, when he came back, he was angry. He told me, Faisal, you know, I think we don't have any chance there. I said, why are you saying that, David? He said, listen, they have already 5G. They have already get advanced in so many, you know, dominant sectors and technologies. So I don't know how we can compete with this, especially when you have the infrastructure. So I told him, yes, but still in the industrial and the industry sector, there is a lot of work to do. And I can tell you, you know, from between 2017, 2019, and now, the quick evolution that we are seeing in Saudi Arabia is just tremendous and crazy. I have my guys coming from France, you know, starting to work to Eyotic. They already, you know, tired, you know, about the rhythm and the acceleration that's happening in Saudi Arabia. So I think from this side, we have a regulator that is ready. We have, you know, C4I AR Center, the Center of Industry Fourth Revolution, Tanafusia, Future Factory program, the universities, we have Modern, the Industrial Center. All these stakeholders are pushing and supporting. The only two, you know, problem that or obstacles that we have right now, it's not related to technology. As we said, we have the infrastructure, we have the capital, human resource that, you know, seeking for technology, and they want, you know, to develop in technologies. But I think, you know, the business owner, the business, you know, the factory owners, and also the worker inside these factories, they still to have more awareness program to understand. I can understand that an owner of a business, he will, you know, have put in between his eyes, you know, the cost, you know, the expenses, etc. And we, companies like us, come to him, we represent the whole cost, you know, and it's difficult to convince him about the return of the investment. But, you know, in our case, we have a tremendous amount of data and use cases, you know, for the last 4 decades, and we explain to them in a very similar situation how they can overlap their, you know, lose of productivity, so lose of profits. So, and also the operator. There is a huge amount of work to do in terms of change management. The operator themselves, you know, the engineers inside these, you know, factories, as Mr. Joshua just said, they need to understand that this technology is here to help you doing your job, not to replace you. This technology is here to help the decision maker to take the right decision.
I'm going to ask Mr. Retzman to respond to that, because this is why he's come to Saudi Arabia for his visit. So, you know, to meet those kinds of challenges.
Look, we have not touched very interesting technology developments like digital twins, fully automated warehouses, AMRs driving around. But if my research is correct, and I looked it up, is that we have currently around about 12,000 factories here in Saudi Arabia. The aim is to triple this number to 36,000 by 2030. At the same time, we have 1.3 million people working in the manufacturing sector here in Saudi Arabia, and this number only increases to 1.5 million. So if we quickly do the math, there's a CAGR from 20% number of new factories versus only 4% in the number of people doing the job out there. How is this possible? This is only be possible by increasing automation and focusing on AI-powered manufacturing. Nevertheless, and I really liked the wording we heard already, the ecosystem factory. The European Commission now launched the new age of industrialization 5.0. This is a human-centered industrialization, enabling basically new manufacturing and robotics working alongside with human beings. This will allow us and give us the opportunity, and this is also what we heard today already, that we, with our great minds, can really focus on solving the great problems of then looking into a future which is bright, using technology and enabling the people doing the job becoming even greater.
Thank you. And Mr. Steiner, you're the last spokesman here. The future of manufacturing in Saudi Arabia, your thoughts, looking from the outside in, what do you see the future?
Yeah, absolutely. The future of Saudi Arabia in Vision 2030 and beyond is amazing, right? And manufacturing is a cornerstone of that. From the automobile and automotive investments to the electronics investments, it's clear that high-tech manufacturing, advanced manufacturing is coming here. There's a lot of support programs like SIDF and the other ministries to provide support. But I think one of the challenges is the people. And to minimize that economic leakage and to keep as much of that value generated here and create really a population where the people can build happy, healthy, productive lives on manufacturing, which is really the root of success in Europe and America and increasingly in Asia. I think that's really what's going to be critical.